And this is now the new Scania AXL vehicle. As you can see, a vehicle without a cab. A vehicle that is dedicated for mining operation, where you can see it's 4 axles. This is a gross vehicle weight of up to 50 tons that it can carry. And it is a vehicle that is then fully autonomous, designed to operate in mining operation. And why mining? Yeah, like Joachim was saying, we believe that it will come first in sort of dedicated areas. If you consider how much a driver is costing, for example, in the outback of Australia, it's roughly around 60,000 euro per driver. You need 4 drivers to run a 24/7 operation. Of course, the savings for them, even if we are not at the stage of 2024 where we have a scalable platform, we can still, with sort of development software in industrial PC compute power, we can provide a solution that is suitable for some customers. And that is where a concept like this will come in. This is based on the Scania modular system as well, so you can see the chassis you probably recognize from a normal vehicle, which means also, of course, that we can build different kinds of applications here. We can build 3 axles, 2 axles, we can build longer wheelbase and so on. This vehicle is running on a conventional powertrain, but with capabilities of running on bio diesel. This is also, of course, a vehicle platform with all the sensors that Joachim was into, LiDAR, radar, cameras, and of course a lot of computing power here, where the cab is usually sitting. That's one platform. But there is also an off-board platform, which is actually let's call it the PC program, that you're sitting in front of the screen and you're giving instructions of where the vehicle should go, and where it should pick up and how it should operate and so on.
Kind of a control tower.
Like a control tower, like a virtual control tower. As you can see, I'm quite proud of this. I hope you will see it and you will be impressed as well. I think we have done a great job on that one, but I think it needs to be experienced in real life. So make sure don't miss the next sort of demonstration, which I think is the bus is leaving at 1:30 outside the tent. So we better be ready for that time, Joachim.
Yes.
This is one piece as we speak, and I think we need to now get it out into sort of customer operation and get the feedback. Is this the right thinking we have? And not only when it comes to the hardware as such, because I think that's fairly easy to change, but it's also the software platforms. Because here we need, of course, to integrate our software platform into, let's take Rio Tinto, for example. They have a big software system for processing plants, for inbound, outbound. It's like a magnificent computer system, and we need to somehow log into that. How do we do that? So I think it's also very much understanding the business model going forward. We will hear more about that from some of our guests.
Yeah.
More examples.
That was one example, and we have other examples, of course. One that you might already have seen is the Hamburg truck pilot, then, where we operate a vehicle in Hamburg Harbor and a 70-kilometer stretch of the A7 highway to serve as a field testing environment for this project. The aim here is to, in front of the World Congress of Intelligent Transport and Transportation Systems that will take in 2021, we want as a group to test the autonomy and the autonomous system in real use over the next 2 years coming in front of this conference to prepare and to demonstrate what we are doing. The goal here is, of course, to analyze and validate the customer requirements, to understand how this works in the real environment. And in this particular case, of course, it's about the harbor, it's about the container handling processes at a large site. And again, it's about the integration of our products into systems. So it's systems of systems. Another important part here when it comes to autonomy is, of course, things that pushes us in this direction. And we have the things that we have talked about earlier, like this platooning. This is particularly interesting in some markets, not on all markets, but we for sure see that this has implications. We talked about driver shortage and solutions for that. Autonomy is one way of solving that, getting rid of the driver completely. But also in platoons, we can solve part of the problem. So that is important. And a lot has happened the last years. We have had field tests between MAN and Schenker in platoons on the Autobahn, A9 between Nuremberg and Munich. I think that they have traveled about more than 35,000 kilometers over a period of 7 months. and it's been rather successful. We have safety drivers in these vehicles, but the number of interventions that they have to be able to do with the system is rather few, far less than we expected initially. So that has been rather successful. And not only have we demonstrated that it's possible to drive this platoon in an autonomous way, with a safety driver in this case, but also it has demonstrated the potential of a platoon itself, saving the driver, but also saving fuel and energy. In this case, it's diesel or biodiesel, but it can also be other types of energies, of course. So 3% to 4%, 3 to 4% of reduction of fuel has been shown in this case.
Okay, so autonomous requires a couple of things to really happen in reality. One is, of course, that we have technology, that you start to see now our roadmap and where we are heading, that we can do things already today, and we have more scalable platforms around 2024. We need also the legislator to sort of make sure that we have the legislation in place, especially on public roads, and we need the public's acceptance, especially if we operate within cities. However, as you can see, the use cases therefore is where the legislation is not really a necessity, like harbors and mining. But sooner or later, of course, we will see this in the cities. And to help us describe a little bit more about that, I would like to invite up Daniel Molin, who's head of and business manager for Complete Solution from Nobina, to come and join me, and Joachim will be back a little bit later on. So welcome up, Daniel. And let us... We are doing some really interesting things together, not so far away from here. Can you tell us a little bit more about that?
Yes. Some 20 kilometers north of Stockholm, we have the growing city of Barkarbystaden. It's in the suburb of Stockholm, but it's a new, very densely populated area that's growing in the municipality of Järfälla. There will be 40,000 new inhabitants living there, and the population density will be equal to the city center of Stockholm. And historically, we know that public transport is lagging in development, in the city development process. So the bus usually arrives when people already moved in and they bought the car and they found the routines traveling by car. Correct. So here we want to do something different, and the city wants to do something different. So we have a joint cooperation between the county of Stockholm, the municipality of Järfälla and Nobina, where we combine the city development, the public transport planning and new technology into one project where we coordinate and try to make the right solution so we can make people live the life without having to own their own car. And this has started with, a year ago, we started with autonomous shuttles, small vehicles traveling within Barkarbystaden. To my knowledge, the first one in the world with the regular service of automated vehicles on public roads. We will, within a few weeks, launch a digital solution, mobility as a service application, where you can plan and book your trips with public transport, bicycle, car sharing, all different modes of transport you need. Within a year, we will start. We say that we start the metro 6 years ahead of schedule, because in 2026 the metro will be extended to this area, but we bring the metro on rubber wheels 6 years ahead. So it's a BRT system, fully electric, that will mimic the advantages of the metro in terms of reliability and attractiveness. And last but not least, we'll see this Scania on public roads starting end of next year together with Scania. It's fully automated 12-meter city bus.
Yeah, I think this, to my knowledge, will be the first sort of full-size bus that is coming into sort of real operation anywhere in the world. So it's a Scania citywide bus, 12-meter long, low floor, easy access, fully electric, that we're looking forward to sort of deploy. And of course, you have been part of the development process here together with us. What sort of flows of passengers, because we're talking about a real flow here, isn't it? So how many passengers do you think is coming in?
The plan here is that these two buses will transport about 300 daily commuters to and from this area. And it's from the metro station in Akalla to Barkarbystaden to the railway station in Barkarby. And hopefully we'll see the growing number of passengers and kind of making people attract more people into this, because as you said, important part of this is getting the public's acceptance to automated vehicles.
Yeah. But how do you see that? I mean, you will. When would, in your operation, when would it start making sense to implement these sort of solution? Is that as soon as possible? I think that's the first question. The second one is that will you take away the driver, or will they be still in the vehicle doing something else, being like a host, because meeting and greeting your customers in a way?
I think that the first kind of value-adding operations of automated vehicles will be within close quarters for us as well, just as mines. But for us, it's at depots, at terminals, where we can let the driver off and let the buses run themselves, where we own the infrastructure.
Yeah.
But the other application, I think, where the public transport will be quite far ahead and early in adopting this technology, is for bus routes where we have infrastructure that is kind of planned for the bus, and we can plan our environment. Private cars have more challenges to take on.
Yeah.
We can plan our business very detailed for a long time ahead, and that will give better circumstances for automated driving.
Yeah. And I think that I think your thinking makes a lot of sense. That, I mean, that in a BRT system where you also have a dedicated lane, you have dedicated infrastructure, would probably be the use case of where it comes in first. So, and what about the drivers? Do you think they will have other jobs to do?
Yeah, we think that, first of all, 50% of our drivers is over 50 years old. Our problem today is recruiting drivers.
Oh.
So I think they will, the boring parts, ranging the bus in the depot, in a terminal, we will let the machine handle. But the difficult areas in a city center, in a crowded street with mixed traffic, we will need our drivers for quite some time, I think.
Yeah, I think so too. I think it's a similar thing also in many of the sort of the truck applications as well. But thank you very much, Daniel. And Daniel will be here for the Q&A as well. So if you have any questions, he will soon be up on stage again. So thank you, Daniel, for helping me out here.